Alright guys, if you've been following Total War for as long as I have, you know that each game in this series has brought something unique to the table. Some mechanics became instant classics, while others didn't fully land, but every game did something that could have contributed to the next one, and it's a shame CA just hasn't done that. So in this video, I want to do something a bit different. I want to try and build the perfect Total War, a game that takes the best ideas from every title, refines them, and combines them into one cohesive experience. From Shogun to Pharaoh, from Rome to Three Kingdoms, I want to imagine what Total War could look like if Creative Assembly took all their lessons and built the ultimate game. So let's dive straight in. At the core of any Total War campaign is the campaign map, and the way settlements interact with provinces defines the strategic depth of the game. For the ultimate Total War, I'd start with Rome 2's province system. Controversial, I know, but it allows multiple settlements to share resources, taxes, and public order, and it needs to go further than that. Each settlement within a province should feel individually meaningful, with choices about how it develops. To do that, I think we should bring back Medieval 2's city and castle specialization system. Each settlement could be a military stronghold, a trade hub, or an agricultural center, each with unique buildings and bonuses. Building slots would be free but limited depending on settlement type, allowing for customization without breaking balance. And to make it feel alive, we'd introduce Rome Total War's city viewing mechanic, letting players watch streets fill, walls rise, and markets bustle. Combine this with detailed population classes, peasants, merchants, nobles, and players are constantly making strategic, economic, and political decisions. Every settlement becomes alive because it's not just a number on a screen. You would have to consider growth, defense, trade, and culture all at once, making empire building deeply strategic because each of your cities demand your attention. Now, a perfect Total War campaign map wouldn't just be functional, it would feel alive and reactive. Here, Attila sets the standard with dynamic seasons, climate, and environmental storytelling. Winter can slow armies, droughts can reduce farmland and cause attrition. Natural disasters create real-world pressures that influence strategy. But we can take this even further. Imagine a world that reacts to your conquests. Cities you raise leave scars on the land. Forests smolder, rivers choke with debris and death, and neighboring regions change allegiances or culture in response. Player exploration should also matter. Medieval 2's discovery of the New World was absolutely thrilling, but in a perfect Total War, unexplored regions and areas or continents could unlock dynamically as your empire advances technologically or expands trade networks. Pharaoh's world escalation system could add another layer here as well. Every region could experience internal unrest, climate pressure, economic shifts based on global events. Essentially, the map itself becomes a narrative, reacting to your choices, forcing adaptation, and keeping every campaign fresh. This living world makes player conquest meaningful, strategy tangible, and exploration actually rewarding. Now, no empire thrives without technological progression through these signature Total War tech trees, and the perfect Total War game would combine the best systems from Empire, Napoleon, and I think Three Kingdoms. Technology shouldn't just be consequential, it should force players to make meaningful decisions about what to research, when, and why. Empire's tech trees introduced global connectivity and strategic trade-offs, while Napoleon emphasized focused advancement that tied into narrative campaigning. And of course, Three Kingdoms adds layers of building trees and recruitment trees into your technology in a meaningful way. All of that makes construction and recruitment choices impactful on economy, military, and society. Technology in Total War should fundamentally alter your gameplay the more you play, not just add numbers and buffs. Gunpowder weapons change army composition, industrialization transforms the economy, and naval technologies open new strategic possibilities. Players should have to think about espionage, trade, and diplomacy in conjunction with technology. Do you steal the secrets of a rival empire? Invest in different types of research methods at at home or manipulate global trade to gain an advantage. The result is a progression system that is both satisfying and deeply strategic, linking empire building, military evolution, and technological mastery into one integrated experience. Next up, I want to talk about generals and governors. These are the lifeblood of any empire, and their development should feel very personal and meaningful. I think Rome Total War and Medieval II gave us family trees, traits, and retinues, but Attila expanded this with governance, war wariness, and corruption mechanics. And Three Kingdoms pushed relationships between characters even further with loyalty, rivalries, and espionage affecting every system in the game. In the perfect Total War, all of these systems from these games need to combine. Generals carry legacies, govern provinces, and interact with other characters in ways that affect your empire. Rivalries could spark rebellion, friendships could open strategic alliances, and marriages or appointments could shift the political balance. With late game delegation inspired by Pharaoh, allowing you to assign vassals or governors to distant regions, creating layers of governance that make every political decision meaningful. With all of this, characters could become active participants shaping the world around you and, regardless of what you do, dynamically engaging with that world turn to turn. The next area I want to talk about is religion, culture, and social structure. Thrones of Britannia and Medieval II show us that religion and culture are far more than decorative. They influence loyalty, revolt risk, diplomacy, and recruitment, and more. Crusades, religious influence create large-scale challenges that shape empire-building strategy, and tying the campaign to agents and to influence or other mechanics like the College of Cardinals in Medieval II would go even further to make people of this campaign feel more historically real. And of course, population classes should matter more too. Nobles, merchants, traders, artisans, and peasants should each have unique needs influencing taxation, recruitment, and stability. Rebellion should always be a risk, forcing careful management. And by combining these mechanics with culture and trait systems and religion, empires should feel alive. Not only are you managing armies and buildings, you are guiding societies, balancing traditions, and negotiating cultural pressures. In the perfect Total War, success shouldn't just be about winning battle after battle. It should also be about keeping an entire civilization functioning and thriving. Next up, campaign events that create narrative tension and unpredictability. Shogun II demonstrated how cinematic events and cutscenes can make the world really feel quite immersive in a way that is both subtly comedic and very brutal. Randomized disasters, discoveries, technological breakthroughs, historical facts about the year you're playing, and all of this gives you a bit more context and introduces a bit of unpredictability. While late game mechanics like Realm Divide in Shogun II or late invasion hordes, of course, in Medieval II, Attila, and others force empires to adapt. All of these systems ensure the game, and especially the late game, remains dynamic. Even dominant empires face threats from rising rivals, rebellions, or climate disasters. Game events shouldn't just be cosmetic. They should affect economics, military, and diplomacy, and the perfect Total War campaign is one of constant strategic decision-making, where foresight, adaptability, and careful management are rewarded, and complacency is brutally punished. This is a game in which every single turn challenges players for new unpredictable reasons and forces them to think several steps ahead while remaining deeply immersive. Next up, I want to talk about trade, resources, and economy. A strong economy in Total War underpins all strategies. From Empire, I want to take global trade networks, trade nodes, and commerce, but refine it with Troy's exotic resource system. Certain specific higher-tier buildings or units require rare materials, maybe marble for administrative centers, exotic animals for elite entertainment centers, or spices even for diplomatic leverage. Resources are finite and must be managed strategically, and tying some, not all of those resources to specific regions on the campaign map would make the campaign more strategic as well. This is already proven. And also, resources tie into army upkeep and replenishment. I think that replenishment in Total War has just gotten worse and worse, but tying this into certain resources, preventing infinite armies, infinite stacks, and forcing trade-offs, expansion, innovation, conquest, and diplomacy, all of these would be intimately linked with economic strength, making trade both a strategic tool and a gameplay challenge. Players would constantly be balancing growth, conquest, and resource management, creating a living economic ecosystem that supports the empire's rise and, of course, tests its resilience. Finally, on the campaign side of things, we've got to talk about multiplayer innovation. Shogun 2's Avatar Conquest system allows armies to persist and evolve across campaigns, while Warhammer 3 demonstrated the thrill of large-scale multiplayer with up to 8-player simultaneous online gameplay. Multiplayer campaigns naturally introduce unpredictability in Total War. Diplomacy, warfare with other human players, long-term investment in armies and territories all become much more strategically challenging. Of course, we would also have to have multiplayer chat reintroduced. We would need better multiplayer support, stability, and compatibility, all areas that CA hasn't really been doing a great job of. But in a perfect Total War game, all of this is resolved. There is perfect stability, lots of mod compatibility, great multiplayer support to essentially enable fantastic, memorable multiplayer campaigning. Now, before we move on to the battle side of things, I've just launched the next issue of Total War Mod Watch. This is my personal newsletter where you can access all the latest modding news in Total War, including updates to mods across your favorite games, install guides, links to Discord servers, and spotlights on 3 big mod pieces, and a lot more. If you're interested, head on over to my Patreon. I've dropped a link down below in the video description and sign up. The basic $2.99 plan gives you access to absolutely everything here, but if you're feeling a little extra supportive, there is a higher option as well. Either way, you get access to this comprehensive bi-weekly newsletter with all of the latest information on your favorite mods. So if you enjoy my videos here and you want even more info on all your mods across Total War, then definitely give this a try. It's well worth it, and it supports the channel at the same time. Now let's get back to the video. Now, over on Total War's battle side of things, let's start with sieges, which haven't really been doing too good in the latest installments. Sieges should feel massive and strategic, not repetitive and annoying. Medieval 1 and Thrones of Britannia excelled in creating layered settlements with walls, gates, and defensive choke points, and the perfect Total War would take all of this and expand it even further with procedurally generated land maps that ensure no 2 battles are the same. Terrain, rivers, and elevation would all play a crucial role, forcing players to adapt tactics on the fly. Siege engines, ladders, and siege towers would be interactive and dynamic, while defenders must balance walls, garrisoned buildings, and traps. And the strategic depth of sieges could extend beyond combat should you starve out the defenders, bombard them from afar, or storm the walls at risk to your elite troops. All of these decisions should make every siege tense, rewarding planning and strategic creativity. And most important of all, the AI needs to be able to engage with all of these massive and complex maps. Siege AI has never been very good in Total War, but it's at the core of the problems with current siege battles. We need an AI that can do effective pathfinding and decision making and bring decent rostered armies for sieges specifically, rather than a blanket AI logic for any army for any type of battle. Of course, we have to talk about combat systems as well. Combat should be tactical, responsive, and immersive, and I think Shogun 2 gives us the best example of fluid animations, responsive archery, and manual artillery control, while Attila adds environmental effects like mud, fire, and weather that influence performance. Fatigue, morale, and unit cohesion from Thrones of Britannia ensures battles swing unpredictably based on player choices and battlefield conditions, and we could use some of Pharaoh's dynamic weather as well, but tuned down quite a bit so it's a bit more special and rare from battle to battle. And every unit should have purpose and weight. Flanking, terrain advantage, timing of volleys or charges all should determine outcomes much more than simple numbers. Combined, all of these mechanics from these games could create battles that feel alive, deeply tactical, and highly rewarding for players who invest in understanding their armies and their terrain. Combat shouldn't just be a spectacle, it should be a test of strategy and leadership. Shogun II is probably the best example of great melee combat, while Napoleon I think would be a great one for ranged. Combining these two, I think would create the perfect Total War battle with the best combat mechanics. Now, one of the most underappreciated ways Total War adds depth to armies is through systems that personalize units and make recruitment meaningful. I think everyone would agree that in Total War Three Kingdoms, the retinue system allows each player to bring a dedicated set of units into battle, and it was a fantastic system in Total War. These retinues are highly customizable, giving players the ability to specialize armies around character strengths, maintain cohesion, and retain a sense of continuity between battles. Your armies aren't just a random collection of troops, they become an extension of your character's strategies and personality traits. And to expand on this, the auxiliary and mercenary systems from Rome II and Attila would be integrated as well. Players could recruit foreign units or temporary specialists to fill gaps, adapt to enemy compositions, or bring unique tactical capabilities to the field. Auxiliaries might provide archers, cavalry, or siege support, while mercenaries could offer elite units without long-term recruitment costs. Combining retinues with auxiliaries and mercenaries could give armies a layered, flexible composition system where planning, character strengths, and resource management all come together to create a dynamic, personalized force for every engagement. Finally, on the battle side of things, the ultimate Total War would combine massive, multi-layered engagements on both land and sea. From Empire and Napoleon, I'll take large-scale naval warfare where fleets are as strategically important as armies on land. Controlling the seas affects trade, of course, reinforcements, territorial control, making naval operations a key component of any campaign. Also, Rome II and Attila offer large, coordinated land engagements that can intersect with naval operations, allowing amphibious assaults, coastal sieges, or river crossings to create dynamic battle scenarios. To make these battles even more engaging, in a perfect Total War, I would incorporate Shogun II's artillery control or other types of siege equipment control. Players should manually aim and fire artillery, giving a tactile, interactive layer to sieges or open field engagements. Coordinating artillery barrages with infantry maneuvers and cavalry charges becomes a central tactical challenge, while terrain, weather, and army composition continue to affect outcomes. And combining all of these systems creates battles that are epic in scale, tactically rich, and endlessly varied, giving players meaningful decisions across multiple domains of warfare. Overall, the perfect Total War game doesn't exist yet, but it is totally possible to imagine. By combining the best features from every entry in the series, the dynastic politics of Medieval II, the diplomacy and retinue system of Three Kingdoms, the trade systems and economies of Empire, the atmospheric campaign events of Shogun II, or the environmental storytelling of Attila, and much, much more, we can see a vision of Total War that captures the thrill, strategy, and complexity of Empire building and conquest at its finest. The perfect Total War would be a game where every single choice matters. How you build your cities, conduct diplomacy, wage war, or manage your people. Battles would be epic and personal, sieges challenging and varied, and the world itself alive, reacting to your actions in meaningful ways. This isn't just an exercise in nostalgia, there is a blueprint for the perfect Total War that already exists. It's a combination of all the lessons learned over 20 years in the series into a single definitive experience. Either way, I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you think about the perfect Total War game, what mechanics or features maybe I missed that you think should be worth adding into, and more. Any questions, I'm happy to answer below. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and head on over to my Patreon if you're interested in getting access to this brilliant bi-weekly newsletter. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.